Lacey and I are really excited to be here. We've been waiting for this moment for some time. I would like to thank not only our board chairs, but also all of you, all the supporters that are seeing us through this, that got us to this point, that will take us on our 3-year journey. We're so grateful. I also would like to mention Opera America, which is the first organization that has jumped on the train to make sure that this project happens. They gave us a wonderful grant to kick off this project.
Thank you so much. Yes, the Richmond Symphony is really extraordinarily excited to be a part of this collaboration, to be bringing this story to life through opera. I mean, what better way to tell this incredibly dramatic love story, an important part of American history. I'd also like to say thank you to Dominic Wilston, the Executive Director of the ICA, and to the staff here at the ICA for not only hosting us today, but being a partner in this journey and hosting workshops throughout the next few years, which we'll share a little bit about in a moment. And take a moment to recognize the Richmond Symphony Music Director, Valentina, who's here with us today. Hello. And the Virginia Opera Artistic Director, Adam Turner. Thank you so much. And Adam, we will turn it over to you to tell us a little bit about the project.
When we started thinking years ago about what could possibly mark the occasion for the 50th anniversary of Virginia Opera, the official opera company of the Commonwealth, we started thinking about most important aspects that it be a Virginia story. We want to commission an opera about a Virginia topic, something very important to the history of the state. And if we could get a bonus in that being a Virginia composer, even better. And I'm happy to report that we have both of those today. I'll tell you a little bit more about the composer in a second. The story, Loving versus Virginia. I can't think of a more fitting story, a testament of love, a story of quiet persistence, courage, dignity, and ultimately a victory for civil rights and the freedom to marry in the entire nation. It paved the way for so many people's marriages and lives, and on a personal note, it made my marriage possible. Through Obergefell versus Hodges in 2015, same-sex marriage was legalized, and I'm happily married for 2 years. That was a COVID happy thing. Thank you. But it's a testament to Loving versus Virginia that was possible. Of course, they were cited in that court case. So how to find the right composer, how to find the right voice to tell this story, to uplift this story on the operatic stage. It's not an easy story to tell, and we had a number of conversations with the Richmond Symphony together, talking about some of our favorite composers we're interested in, kind of the next generation of composers that we wanted to support and nurture, and a name kept rising to the top of the list over repeated conversations, and that is of this man to my right, Damien Jeter. Damien is a voice that I first discovered a few years ago through Washington National Opera's American Opera Initiative. He had written a piece called American Apollo, which is a chamber opera that has since been commissioned to be expanded for Des Moines Metro Opera. It's a fabulous work, and I recall waking up the next day after watching this thing online, and the tunes just permeating my mind. I could not get the melodies out of my head, and that's a good sign for a composer. And on the way here, in fact, driving up from Norfolk today, I just listened to an African-American Requiem, which had its premiere about a week ago in Oregon. And again, these melodies are just rolling through my mind. I can't get them out. That's a great sign of accessible, high-quality music, and I'm just so excited. Damien has, not only as a performer, he's been at the Met, Seattle Opera, Portland Opera, where he's interim music director and artistic advisor, but as a composer, as I mentioned, American Apollo, and coming up this summer at Glimmerglass Festival, the world premiere of Holy Ground. I'm so excited to introduce Damian Jeter, the composer of Loving versus Virginia.
Thank you, Adam. Most of what he said was true. It's good to be home. I grew up in Chesterfield County. They call it South Chesterfield now. We're at the very, south of Chesterfield. And Petersburg is, I used to hang out in Petersburg a lot, but it's good to be home. It's good to be back here with the Symphony. And the opera, these are two institutions that I revered when I was a child. And my very first operatic experience was with Virginia Opera. And the very first opera that I saw was Elektra by Strauss. So you can imagine that I was very excited about opera. Opera was completely foreign to me. I was very much into the symphonic world. I did my undergrad at Old Dominion University, and that was sort of my connection with Virginia Opera. I think that was in 2002, but I'm not exactly sure when Elektra was. So that was my sort of foray into opera, and I did an interview with Bill from the Richmond Times last week, and he said, when you saw the opera, was that the thing that made you realize you wanted to write opera? And I said, no, because I actually never thought I would be a composer. That was not on my list of things to do. I wanted to be a conductor, and I do have opportunities to do that, but composing is nice too. So I've always sort of written melodies and things like this, but when people started taking me seriously as a composer, it's sort of the same way I got into singing. When people started taking me seriously in those two things, that's when I was like, okay, well, somebody is trying to tell me something. I was thinking about when Jen Arnold texted me about the possibility of being the composer for this. I was at my nephew's wedding in San Francisco. Was it last year? What year is this? It might have been 2020, but I think it was last year. Anyway, was it last year? Okay, last year. And immediately I was like, well, I have to do this and I have to do this. And I was like, wait a minute. I gotta make this work. And after several conversations, obviously it works because I'm standing here now, but this is a story that's very important, not only important to Virginia, but important to our nation and, quite frankly, the world. And it is right in line with everything that I do as a composer in terms of forwarding the cause of social justice through music. And speaking of forwarding things, I think that Virginia Opera, Richmond Symphony, I commend you for commissioning new works, because this is the only way that the art is going to continue to move forward. And we need these things, quite frankly. Let me just refer to my little notes here for a second. Yes, so I'm very excited about this opportunity. I think about it every single day. In fact, Jessica and I had a really great meeting last week just before I got on the plane to kind of flesh out a few different ideas musically and some of the things that she's thinking about in terms of the story, and I think it's going to be good. So that's our hope. So again, thank you very much for coming. I'm so honored to be here. It feels good to be home. I've actually never done any work in this area before in terms of like Richmond or Chesterfield or Petersburg or anything like that, but it feels good to be back and to do important work like this. So thank you very much.
He's really tall. He mentioned the name that I neglected to mention earlier, Jessica Murphy Moo, our librettist, whose work has been produced by Virginia Opera twice. And she could not be with us today. She's on the West Coast, but she recorded a video in which she speaks about the work and about Damien.
So a couple people were asking me at the top of this event, and you probably have figured it out throughout the comments here, how far along we are with the creation of this work. And we're right at the very beginning. And the really exciting thing is that now we have an opportunity for you to join in the journey.
The Commissioning Club is a special group that will go on this journey in a very intimate way over the next 3 years. So thanks to the ICA and Dominic, that they did not hesitate to be partners with us. They're willing to host the workshops, and that will be an orchestral workshop or a libretto workshop where we workshop the words of the opera. Piano will do a part of the score, and we'll workshop that. And if you're part of the commissioning club, you get to come on that journey with us, whether it be online or together in the room with us. You'll get time with the creative team, and really, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I've done this before, and when you get to the opening night of the world premiere and you've been on this journey with everyone, there's nothing like it in the world. You will have a part, and I don't mean to be dramatic, but I am an opera person. It is life-changing. It truly is life-changing. So I hope that you'll consider joining the commissioning club. You have a sheet about it underneath your packet. So I'd like to invite Dominic up, please.
Here at the ICA, you know that most of what we do is commissioning new contemporary art. And opera is a contemporary art form. And it makes us especially proud to be able to emphasize that and to share that with you. We're also going to document aspects of the process via the work of our VPM and ICA Community Media Center that launched last year. And I guess lastly, am I last? Lastly, I think to close it out, I'd say you've heard already from a few people here, and it's true of others of us. This is also a personal project. Adam spoke about this, Jessica spoke about this. It's true of others, true of myself. This is a story that is tremendously important here in Virginia, in the United States, and also internationally. My own parents were an interracial couple in apartheid South Africa under the Immorality Act. And so the resonance of this story is just tremendous. And we want to, via colleagues at the university here at VCU, also be able to explore the historical legacy of this over the years. So this is going to be a tremendous kind of artistic journey, political journey, and a personal journey for lots of us too, and I'm sure for lots of you. So thank you for coming to the ICA today, and enjoy the space, and look forward to seeing you here as we enjoy this journey together. Thank you.